Hey guys, we're live on Jupiter and a bunch of other stars. Uh, my name is Bill Bryson, and I welcome you to my Moon Musings. Uh, I've been testing a camera for the last couple sessions, and I have an extraordinary picture up here. I deliberately increased the gain. I can turn the gain down, and when I turn the gain down, you can see this is Jupiter right here, and these are the moons of Jupiter. You say, well, where are the rings of Jupiter or the bands? Well, you can see the bands if I let's see, if I turn the exposure all the way. See the rings or the bands, but I'm not going to concentrate on the bands because I'll show you the bands in a little bit, because I'm testing this right now and I'm going to increase the gain, because what's extraordinary about this picture is that you can see a lot of other stars. I can see more than you can see, but you can see that one right there, that one right there, right there. You can see a whole boatload of stars in the sky. They're blinking in the background. I'm very excited about this camera because I think that with this camera I'll be able to actually show you nebula. And matter of fact, in a little bit I'm going to try to show you the Orion Nebula on a live feed from my telescope. This camera is a unique design. I came up with let me turn the gain down just a bit. You can almost barely see the bands there, and you can still see a couple stars. But you can see how when you turn it down, it's kind of like the fainter stars go away. But see, that just means that I should be able to with this camera, if I want to enunciate the nebula, I should be able to bring it out. We'll see. I'm going to be doing some experiments with you. You're guinea pigs again tonight, guys. Uh, I have a Nexstar, Celestron Nexstar 8SE telescope. I have two focusers on that telescope. The first focuser is the focuser that came with the and built into the telescope. I have it motorized. I can control it from my PC. I'm in the house, by the way. My telescope is out on the porch in my observatory. I live in a two-story house, and the first story is a garage, and the second story is a living quarters with a porch extended, and my observatory is on my porch. So my telescope's on a perch up in the air anyhow, and it's got a roof over it, and I'm pointing at Jupiter. The second focuser built into the telescope is one that I bought. It's a Zoomol. It's kind of a big thing that goes right on the back, and I have that motorized too. And I can control the focus. This camera that I'm using has a built-in focuser, and I found that on the moon it works marvelously. And I'll be very anxious in my up-and-coming videos to show you. Let me turn up the gain again. I know it kind of bloats out there, but that's an optical effect. It's not elongated, it's just, it's so bright. But when I do turn up the gain, you can see, even on your screen, you should be able to see stars twinkling in the background. And that's a very good sign for us, because that means that I might be able to show you in real time nebula. Uh, and whoops, let me just move the, kind of zipped up there, kind of get it set there. So I'm excited about this this camera. This camera is a light, low level sensitive, light sensitive camera, and you can see, if you're looking at this screen, I'll be anxious to see what it looks like on the high definition when I upload it to YouTube. If you watch it in high definition in full screen on YouTube, you should be able to see the twinkling stars in the distance. I've never been able to see that at all on any of my other cameras, and I have about 4 cameras. And I'm very familiar with cameras for telescopes, and this is testing. This testing set it's turning out to be one of the most profitable, because this camera seems to be super duper. My friend Mike and I came up with the idea, and I bought a camera, and I decided to make it work, and I taped it literally to a lens with electric tape, and it worked pretty good. Mike said, "Well, I can make a mount for that." So he's in that business, and he had a certain kind of a mount made, machined up, and we have 3 prototypes that we got in, and I'm testing one of those prototypes right now. And 2 nights ago, I can even see shooting stars on this screen, guys. You might not see them, but you might. I don't know. I got the gain up. You should see twinkling stars. It's incredible. It's like a low level. I bet you will see UFOs with this one, because you can see twinkling stars in the background. It's amazing. And this is early in the evening. We're not even into a dark sky yet. So Mike had these made up, and I'm testing one of them. What's unique about this camera is this camera has actually built into it a zoom control, and I want to show you that. I'm going to zoom in right now. This is a 20, and when I zoom, let me zoom in. I've got to move it over because it is. This zoom control is built into the camera. It also has a built-in autofocuser, which I found is not working. It doesn't work very well with the stars and the planets, but it does work extremely well with the moon. I'm trying to center this. Okay, let me continue my zoom. And I'm about halfway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now let me make sure I don't lose it. There you go. I'm going up. Okay. Okay, now let me go back to my advanced settings, and let me turn the gain down to where you can, so you can see the rings there, the bands, they call them bands. And let me increase the exposure a little bit. it's kind of like with this telescope, as with this camera, as with the other ones. I've never been able to really show the. There you can see. That's pretty good, really. You can see 1, 2, 3 of the moons with the bands. Uh, Let me change the brightness. This is again with a 25 millimeter lens, so I'm going to put on a 5 millimeter lens in a minute, and it should fill this whole screen up with Jupiter. That's pretty good. I mean, you can see the bands and you can see the 3 moons. This other one was fainter anyhow. Let me increase the exposure just a dab. See, when I increase the exposure, it lets more light into the camera, but it also loses the bands, and I'm trying to show you the bands. Okay, let's do this right now. Let's turn the gain all the way up, like I had it before, all the way up on the exposure, and brightness down a little bit. And when I do that, I'm doing that so you can see some of the twinkling stars in the background. And see, when I get it too high, then it kind of, see, it kind of, there. See, now I've increased the exposure, increased the gain, and you can see twinkling stars in the background. Okay, very good test. Let's drop the exposure again and drop the gain. You're guinea pigs tonight, guys. And see, when I do so, you can see the bands clearly, and if you fiddle with it, you can actually get the. So I can't see this moon anymore down here. It's probably. It's probably not visible right now, but that'll give you an idea. What I'm going to do now is lose it. What I'm going to do now is find it again, and I'm going to bring it up on the 5 millimeter lens, and we're going to look at this thing together with the 5 millimeter and see what it looks like. So hang with me, guys. 5 millimeter coming up. Okay, guys, I'm on Jupiter with a 5 millimeter. Now let me, I got the gain all the way up again like I did before, which means you can still see little stars in the background, but now I'm interested in seeing the band. So let's drop the exposure down, drop the gain down, drop the exposure up, gain up. No zoom. This is just, by the way, the wind's out blowing. That's why it went off screen a little bit ago. It's just that wind buckles on me. Let me try to do a defaults on this and see what happens. See, the defaults, you just about have to use your manual controls when you want to do something with this. Okay, now let me do this. Now I'm going to try to adjust the focus. And the way to do that is look at that star right there and try to, that moon. That's pretty good. Okay, now let's see what we can do with this. Let's turn the brightness down, or the brightness the contrast up, contrast too far, too far, too far, too low. Okay, right there. Color intensity up a little bit. I'll leave it right there. I have white balance on auto. Let me turn, this will kind of change the color a little bit. Let me turn auto on again. And just for grins, I'm going to center it, and I'm going to turn oh, I do have the zoom all the way in. Let me zoom back out. Yeah, that gives us a crisper. Well, let me zoom in again. It was zoomed in because I had it zoomed in before. It keeps whatever the last setting was. Now let me turn autofocus on just see if it does anything with it. See, it is trying to, I'll turn autofocus off. Let me, this is again the 5mm. 5mm. It's really not a bad, let me zoom all the way out. Okay. All the way out. And let's go to advanced settings. Brightness. Exposure. Contrast. Okay, well, let's leave it right there. It seemed like it brought out more detail. Let me zoom in now. No, see, it's contrast is too much. The fine line on the contrast, it belongs right there. Brightness is too much. See, it's got that tunnel. See that tunnel? Let me not lose it. Up. Okay. Webcam control. I'm put the zoom where I know it should be. It should be at least right in the middle. That's where it is right now. That's the proper setting for this camera. Like I did on the Moon, I had eight clicks. See, I tried to do autofocus right there. It just can't. And let me go to advanced settings. Turn the gain down just a little bit. See, I'm just trying to see trying to get the best picture I possibly can. And the color intensity. And let me, not sure what the colors should be, but see, I can turn the intensity up. Okay, let's do one more thing and then we'll finish this test. I want to zoom it in now. Right now it's on, it's not zoomed in. Again, this is a no Barlow at all. This is just the standard 5mm lens in with this camera in the camera mount. And let me zoom in one. Oop. Make sure it's not floating around first. Zoom in 2, zoom in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 times zoom on a 5mm. That's as close as I can get with this 5mm. Now with the image filling more of the screen, let me try to turn autofocus on. Yeah, just about have to use manual focus on this stuff, guys. I'm using the focus on the camera right now. That's pretty good focus. And let me go back over to advanced settings. If I turn the gain down just a dab, it's not too shabby, not too shabby at all. Let me turn the intensity of the color up. It's only about 9 o'clock. Jupiter is low in the sky. I would imagine as the evening gets on, it should be a clearer, just like with the moon, whenever you're working the moon. It's such a hard thing to get centered on a 5mm. At least on the moon, you've got a lot of surface area, and the wind's blowing. See that's a wind out there. Okay, I'm going to shut it down. I think that's a very, very excellent test. I'm going to do one more thing before I shut it down. I'm going to deliberately let it drift off, and I'm going to turn the exposure up, the gain up, uh, and just point at the sky again and see if I can bring in some of the stars. Like I did before. And I can see them. I've got 2 monitors. My main monitor has my screen that's being captured, which is this screen right here. And to the right of that is a smaller monitor where I'm running this program called Debut Video Capture Software, which is showing me what you're going to see. And I can see that you can see, even though it's dim, you can still see real tiny stars twinkling. And again, I do have the exposure cranked all the way up, the gain all the way up, and the brightness is, that's higher, but see, it's not quite, you can see maybe more stars, but it's lighter. But if I turn the contrast up then, yeah, that's maybe the way to do it. I'm going to turn the brightness all the way up. Brightness is all the way up. Now contrast, nope. Let me turn the brightness down a little bit. Brightness is right now about 85%. There it is. 80. Brightness is 80%. And contrast is about 50%. Exposure is 100%. Gain is 100%. Guys, what you're looking at are twinkling stars. Some of them are more stable than others, but they're twinkling. Now, what does that mean to you? Well, it might not mean anything to you. Hey, look at that. I'm talking with the. Now my microphone is on my. It's a label mic. I had it next to my computer. I hope you heard what I said. In any case, now you can hear me properly. This is exciting stuff. What we're looking at, guys, are twinkling stars in the sky, in the night sky, taken with a 5mm lens through a camera, experimental camera. And what it means is, I'm doing it. Let me see what I'm doing it at 7 frames per second. 6. What it means is, later on, in about an hour or two, I'm actually going to go to the Orion Nebula, and I'm going to try to show you in live TV, in live video. I know it'll be recorded, but the Orion Nebula through a telescope on the ground. Now that's exciting as hell. But I'm going to do it on a separate video, because if it works out, it's going to be super duper. So I'm going to close this one out. This is almost 30 minutes long. It's long enough. I'm going to post this. I apologize for the sound wasn't quite up to snuff on the back end, but that's okay. You could probably still hear me. But this will give you a taste for what I'm working with here, guys. You're looking at twinkling stars, and as well, if you look close at the sky, you're seeing shooting stars. We're looking into deep space with my Celestron Nexstar 8 SE at a live feed from space, from a ground telescope, and with a fantastic camera that has a light level that's low enough to actually see the twinkling stars. That should excite the bejeebers out of you. And if this works, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm going to show you on a separate video the Orion Nebula. Now, if you don't see that video, that means it didn't turn out. And I'll talk about it in my next video, but I'm excited about this, because this means I can see all kinds of UFOs if they're up there, just by pointing my telescope at the sky. See those fallen angels snooping around the universe. Okay, that's it. Very good session. I appreciate you dipping in, looking at my experiments with this new camera that Mike and I, my buddy, are working on. And it's turning out better than I could have ever expected. So I wish for you and yours clear skies, guys.